Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations, effects tutorials, demos, and review. So today we're going through my hybrid setup here that I use to basically, play my solo shows now. This is going to be so I'm using a, which is slightly off camera here. Well, it's not off camera right now, but using this Axiom 61 key controller, very lightweight. Had it for years, inexpensive, about $200. So not super worried about it getting banged around, things like that. And I'm also using, of course, my pedal board here. Switch over to the pedal board view. So let's go and jump into it, folks. Hope everybody having a great day. Hit that like button for me if you haven't already. I greatly appreciate it. So let's see, make sure y'all up and running. Somebody let me know in the chat if y'all good. See what we got here. Make sure we good on everybody. Always appreciate the support, the love and support, y'all. Definitely hit that like button for me. Helps me out a lot. So let's go and talk about it while we're here. What's going on, folks? Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. So we getting some pretty crazy sounds just using this little setup here. So for me, I have a whole MIDI setup here as well. So I got not just what I can do with my bass. So got everything set up on MIDI. If I want to play my actual bass sounds, got all that set up. Only thing I don't have set up yet is my presets between all the pedals. So right now I have all the pedals set up on individual pages and the pedals. So let's just go over the pedal board order here just so we can start there. Starting here with the Empress compressor. Then we're moving over to, appreciate you following me over on Facebook and see what else. Yeah, Facebook popping. Appreciate y'all. So not only do we have the Empress compressor, we got that running into the Future Impact V4 VIP, then into the MXR bass synth, and then we have the Electro Harmonix Hog 2. This is the memory box for the Hog 2, and that's running into the ToneX pedal here. And the ToneX pedal does all my preamps. So it not only has my bass preamps in there, it has preamps like my color box in there. It also has guitar type presets in there. Let's switch this thing. So if I want to do guitar type sounds, not an issue. So I got all my preamps in there, different stuff for either guitar type stuff, bass stuff. Also have this here for when I want to do just more of a flatter but upper mids, up highs enhanced on there, EQ from there. So I definitely love it. No, I didn't go to Yale. I went to Berklee College of Music. That's where I was. So, we was actually across the street from like MIT, Harvard's in that area as well. Boston is like a mecca of schools. But yeah, I went to Berklee College of Music myself. But yeah, so from the ToneX, we going into the Mel 9. Then from the Mel 9 into the Enzo X, which is synth pedal, but I'll explain some other things I use for that. HX1 into the Mercury X here is last in the chain. Well, not last. Then it comes down on the floor to a Jam Man Solo HD looper. And then that's running into a Canvas stereo line isolator. So yeah, it's and through all of this we have the MIDI set up underneath. We have the CME H4 MIDI Pro, which is the bigger one. I have the H2 MIDI Pro as well, but I needed the bigger one, so I got the bigger one. So I got the H4 MIDI Pro underneath the board, which is all the MIDI of the board connected to that. And I have the MIDI Captain here, which is going to control all my presets and things like that. So it definitely allows for a very flexible setup. Now, from there, I have MIDI ran over to, I have a Yamaha motif that's over here against the wall that's off camera that you can't see. That all of this, that's the MIDI from this controller is running to as well. So not only is it running to the Enzo X, the MIDI controller, so I can control Enzo X sounds. EPs coming from the motif and the pads coming from the pedal board. Now I do have because I have extra pedals around, I do have a pedal chain for the motif as well. So I have just the EP coming from there with all the effects shut off on the motif, and then I have it running up here to the Zoom MS-60 CDR Plus, the Plethora X1, and the Source Audio Atlas compressor is what's on the actual keyboard itself, which gives me, this is just the keyboard. If I take off the effects here, that's the motif by itself. And all this is stereo. So basically, I have two stereo lines running with this setup. I have a stereo line coming from the pedal board. Then I have a stereo line coming from the motif as well, which has its own 3-pedal setup. So make sure y'all hit that like button for me too. See what we got here. So, and all while I still have access to all my bass sounds. And they both have separate effects chains that I'm using, you know what I'm saying? Of course, this one that you're looking at on the pedal board is much more extensive because it's, for one, all this really is for bass. This whole pedal board really is for bass, but I also have it set up in a way where I can also use, if I want to take a MIDI controller, I can easily play. And I still have a MIDI in and out. Let me see. I got an extra MIDI in, from the MIDI Captain as well. So if I need to run something else or start daisy chaining more things, I got additional MIDI out here from the Future Impact where I can run stuff. And then when I go into the computer and in the CME H4 MIDI Pro software, I can then route MIDI a ton of different ways. So this just a super flexible setup. I also have 4 expression pedals on the floor as well that are hooked up to different things. I can also hook up expression pedals to the MIDI captain and run that. So let's walk through a few things, how I'm using everything. So first off, let's get to something basic here. So this is my bass flat with nothing, pretty much. So first thing in the chain would be the Empress compressor. Just adding some nice, gentle compression. If I add a little EQ from my bass, and that's just the Empress compressor and my bass, right? So amazing. Now, with the, as a matter of fact, if you want to slap, just use a different EQ on your bass if you have an EQ. And of course, my strings aren't brand new, so it'll take a little bit. Yeah, I can definitely make an entire album with just me playing instruments. I've done it already. It's called All Bass Creations. If you go to allbasscreations.bandcamp.com, the album's called All Bass Creations. 8 tracks where I did, I composed everything and did everything with just my bass and effects pedals. Excuse me. And there was no MIDI involved at all in that case. I mean, none of the pads or any of the things were made with anything other than bass and effects. No MIDI from synthesizers or nothing like that. So, and I recreated like drum sounds, bass sounds, pad sounds, lead sounds, so all that type of stuff. So, you could check that out there as well, or stream it, whatever. If you really want to support, the best place would be Bandcamp. But you see how having these little things set up kind of really can come in handy. So let me explain how I have the MIDI set up. I have the Hog 2 on channel 1, the Future Impact V4 VIP on channel 2, Enzo X on channel 3, Line 6 HX1 on channel 4, and the Mercury X on channel 5 MIDI, right? You get 16 MIDI up to 16 different channels with MIDI. And then you can have like an Omni mode, which will send messages to all the channels, right? But if you want to just send a channel to one of those pedals, say I wanted to send a message to the Enzo X to go from either turn on, turn off, switch sounds, switch effects. So, and all that's the Enzo X, you know what I'm saying? Like just switching through a few different presets. So MIDI comes in super handy in that way where on stage, you're not fumbling around as much trying to get to sounds, trying to get to this, trying to get to that. I got 5 pages of MIDI set up where I can control different things. So, like I said, on channel 1 is Hog 2, and we're coming back to channel 2 now. We're going to start with channel 2 because it's first in the chain. I know that's back. That seems counter, but it's just the way I think about the pedal board. I think about this would be second. So if I come to page 2 on the MIDI captain here, right, I can then, if you take a look at the future impact, I have it set up for keyboard control. See right now, I have it on channel 3, which the motif and the Enzo X are on. But if I change this to channel 2, now I got the Future Impact V4 VIP. Now, this is a good time to kind of explain my general bass setup here, like, or what pedals I use for just my general bass tones, right? So I already told you, Empress compressor pretty much always stays on. Turn that Future Impact off real quick. Normally, Empress compressor, ToneX 1, Mercury X. And I know that seems strange, right? It seems strange. We're going to come back to the Future Impact just because I need to explain this real quick, because I'm going to keep these other pedals on while I'm going through the Future Impact sound. So the the Mercury X actually has some amazing effects to go at the end of your chain. So if I come to page 5 here, I got it set up for this first one, and I have it named Negus preamp. So let's just hear what this will do, the Mercury X will do for your sound. We already know what the ToneX one to do. We already know what the Empress compressor does. We kind of heard that a little bit. But here's my bass by itself. It's pretty loud. Now, let's kick on the preset here. So it gives it a nice, the way I have it set up, it gives it a real nice compression, stereo compression at that, right? So I got, on that I got the stereo compression. I have a parametric EQ in the filter section, which is a 1-band EQ pretty much. I just have that set up as a high-pass filter. Just get rid of some of those obsessive low end. And my bass kicks out a lot of it, like a lot of them sub frequencies, which is great, you know, but you need to tame them a bit. And this patch does it perfectly between the compressor and the single band EQ, really, which is just a high pass filter in this case, which is not a single band EQ. I'm not using it. I'm using like a high pass filter. And I also have the op amp on the drive section, just on pretty much as low as I can have it with the gain, just using it for just for saturation, and have that, you know, get a nice bass tone with all that together. So that's just the Mercury X by itself, my bass. With the Mercury X. So, you know, now you start to kick on the ToneX 1, which has a tone model of, this particular tone model is a JHS Colorbox V2 running into a Ampeg SGT DI. So it's two preamps in one tone model. You know, look at the amount of space that saves, you know, not having to take around all these big, huge analog preamps. The ToneX 1 is very small. Mind you, you can buy one from the link in the description. Greatly help out the channel, as well as hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Now we just sound like a full studio bass rig. Now we just add in the Empress compressor, add in, you know, some of that taming of the low end that's coming prior to getting to the ToneX 1, and just general. I like the saturation the Empress compressor adds to your sound. It has a really nice saturation. So you just get straight to that nice studio sound. And that's my live sound right there, pretty much in a nutshell. I don't really need anything else. The color box, the Empress compressor adds some nice compression. This is just at a 2-to-1 ratio, but just a gentle compression with some nice analog saturation right at the beginning of my signal. And running into the ToneX 1, which is running to the color box, and the Ampeg SGT. The color box adding a nice firmness to your sound. The Ampeg SGT adding that nice Ampeg harmonic distortion, just slightly, just a little bit gritty sound to it, you know, to help it cut through a little bit. And then having the Mercury X finish it up with some beautiful compression, and I'm using the compressor link, so it's compressing each side, left and right, separately. And then I also have the parametric filter on, which I'm using that as a high pass filter. And then I also have on the drive section the op amp, and I have that at a very low gain. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just getting the saturation from that particular algorithm. And ultimately, if all I do for my sounds, with my bass sounds, all I got to do is just switch amps from here. I can switch them. Here's the Mark bass, Big Bang. Nice tame low end. Here's a SVT CL Heritage. So you go from there. Got my color box into Aguilar AG preamp. So, bam, you right there. Got your bass tones, and I still have my guitar amps. So I still got everything right there available to me. And when I need my reverbs, if I want a nice studio reverb, and you know that's the Hog 2 added in there as an octaver, but all that distortion and is coming from that Marshall on the ToneX 1. And that's why I said the ToneX 1 is just a super useful pedal in terms of amp models. It's unlimited amp models. If you get the signature bass collection, you're going to get a sweet collection of bass amps. You can always go to my Patreon and download my presets like I always recommend to you guys. You know what I'm saying? You know, you can check them out for various pedals, including the Future Impact, the Enzo X, the ToneX 1. Got 11 different preamp packs, Zoom multi-stomp pedals, MS-70 CDR plus, MS-60B plus, the Zoom B6. You know, all that stuff is on the Patreon. So make sure you go check it out. And there'll be a Mercury X pack soon. So all these different reverbs you're hearing, you'll soon have those available to you as well. So let's move. So from there, you know, I can pretty much do anything. If I wanted to do pad type stuff, I can just switch up to a color box setting. This is my color box setting for pads and things like that. And I can let's just do freeze gliss here. And, you know, another bonus feature, I have a freeze gliss here and I also have a freeze on the Mercury X. So it eliminated the need to have a deep freeze and the MXR layers. So I wanted to go from there. Turn on that male 9. Let's put on some nice chorus. Let's put on a phaser from the Enzo X. And let's put on a nice put on this Adriatic delay from the HX1. And what I like to call one of my presets, the Negus pitcher setting. From the Mercury X. the setup is crazy. I'm trying to tell you just the stuff you can do with this setup and the amount it'll save you. I know the Meris pedals, they're $600. But when I say, if you, as a bassist, if you get a Enzo X and a Mercury X, you're not only getting a beautiful synth pedal in the Enzo X, right? So that's one thing that you're getting. You know, let's Enzo X just go off on you. Don't play with the jank, for real. It's just stupid. Not only can I do that, play it with my bass, I can play it with the keyboard as well. And that's the motif and the Enzo X. Add a little bit of. Enzo X crazy. Not to mention, if you just go ahead, throw that, let's just throw on the Mercury X. Oh my goodness, stop playing. So you get to all that different stuff just because you got an Enzo X. So even if you're a keyboard player or you're a bassist or you're a guitarist, it's just a worthwhile investment on the synth side of the game. It's its own keyboard that really sounds like itself. And the pads and stuff you can just create. We're just gonna go to a straight studio reverb. Well, actually, we don't even need it for the pads. They have their own reverb. Say I don't want that release so much, I have mine set up to where these quick knobs right on the front. So all of these knobs around here correspond to the names. When it's on this screen here of the preset name, you'll have the pitch, filter, mod control, and the level. So if you ever need to reach for any of that, it's right there. But you can have these two knobs set up to do any of the parameters, two parameters that you want, additional parameters you want them to do right there. So I have mine set up for the ambience mix and the release of the sound. So if I don't want to use that reverb and I don't want to use that release time, so now let me pull back this motif. Right, I can easily have that as an option. I can still play with my bass anytime I feel like it. I can still play with my. That's crazy. Right, so just by changing that, and the reason I have it set up like that is so I can use the HX1 in conjunction with whatever patch I want to use on the Mercury X. So it's just always ready to go for anything I wanted to. So let's jump back just a bit. Go back to that preamp. And the other thing I love is I can turn everything, the same switches on the MIDI Captain I set up to switch the presets. I can have them turn things on and off as well, like the actual bypassing of the pedal. So now, even without touching the pedals, I've turned them off. You know what I'm saying? So, and I can also turn them on. So, that's weird. So now, come to channel 2. Channel 3, let me turn off that flanger. So, and if I want to switch preamps, switch patches. So, you know, you got keyboard control of this Future Impact, and it's the same, similar to situation as the Enzo X. different bass synths though that I can use with keyboard or meanwhile, if I want to use the motif still or use the Enzo X in conjunction with that, at any time I can, you know. I can easily just come over here. I don't even have to switch the Enzo X or track it. Come over here to a synth sound, solo sound. Matter of fact, I don't know why I'm even doing that. See, I'm such in the habit of reaching over and doing everything. I can do, I forgot I got everything pretty much set up over here for that type of stuff. Change that mix. Oh, this it's not trying because I got it on mono. That's right. Let's see something. It don't like that, so. But really, I could have them set up to play at the same time. I just would have to change my setup slightly, have this, the route output of this routed somewhere else. Right now, it's still routed through the Enzo X, and, you know, and then just put them on the same MIDI channel, daisy chain them, bam, you know. So that's one way of doing it. But, yeah, just so we stay on the Future Impact for a second. Turn that off. And just like anything else, that delay is coming from the Future Impact. It works as a bass sound as well, and a lead sound. So, you know, you want to just have all these sounds from the Future Impact and Enzo X that you're hearing are on the Patreon already. So you ain't got to really worry about it. And I can still, if I go in here, just make a slight change. Let's see. I can control that same sound with my bass as well. Sorry, that's my fault. I can run it through the guitar amp. And, you know, it's just about knowing how to change the settings with this. Just going to global, changing it from bass to synth. Run that through some of the nice presets we got set up on the Mercury X. So yeah, you can do tons of stuff, and it's just kind of already set up, ready for you to go. And fortunately, a lot of times, even when I'm playing, and I have my band, and we're playing with a full band, right? Me, pianist, trumpet player, or sax player, drums, type situation. Um, I don't have to play the EP sounds. Those situations, if I want to lay down pads, I still have those abilities to have my Enzo X pads being played. I can even play them with my bass if it's a small gig. If it's a bigger gig, I can play them with my MIDI controller. And I still have access to a ton of different sounds, even without carrying around the actual keyboard. I have all the bass synth sounds right there, or keyboard key bass sounds, as well as I can play that with my bass, like I demonstrated. And the Enzo X also has some amazing bass synth sounds. So, those are definitely two pedals I cannot recommend enough. Enzo X, Future Impact. And to be honest, if you really want to expand your sounds, you know what I'm saying, and your sound capability for gigs, like as a bassist, the ToneX one, you're not going to beat that. If you want to expand it for your own personal solo playing and stuff, that Mercury X is extremely phenomenal. Like, you get so many twos in there that people don't really talk about. It's not just a reverb pedal. It's everything. It's literally has compression, limiters. It has two different types of compression, two different types of limiters. Regular compression, where it compresses both left and right channel together, and then compressor link, where it compresses them separately. And then you also have a diffusion dynamic thing you can use in there. Diffusion, what else? Swell and freeze. So you get a freeze pedal with it as well. Then you got the drive section. You got two transistor and op amp in there, and those are all phenomenal, as well as you get one, I believe you get one more drive in there. Let me check. No, that's it for the preamp section. And you also got a filter section. The filter section has a ladder filter, which is like a 24 dB, a minus 24 dB filter, and then it has a state variable filter, which is a minus 12 dB filter. And those are like Moog style filters you can find on stuff like that. And the quality is phenomenal of all of these effects that I'm naming, by the way. And you get a parametric EQ in there, filter. So you can use that to, if you want to boost your high mids or something like that for a solo, or say you want to just cut your lows for a solo or tracking purposes. You want a high pass filter, low pass filter, bandwidth filter. Then you also got pitch shifting in there, 3 different types of pitch shifters. You got modulations in there, and some very unique modulations in there, like the Valve one, which is like creates like this talking, gives you, it's like a format filter, pretty much like gives you that talking sound, like a, let me demonstrate. Where is it? I have it up here. Gotta be this way. See, it has like the ooh-ah type sound to it. And even when you using, say, a pad through it, Meris just makes such high quality stuff. It's ridiculous. between Electro Harmonics, IK Multimedia, Meris, and Panda Audio, and Empress. Those are the companies that really, for me, have been really making. I know they showing up on my pedal board, but they showing up on my pedal board for a reason. Like, they really are making very nice products that are really sound good every time you turn them on. The Empress compressor just sounds amazing. It seems like it's simple because it's a compressor. I know it seems like, why I need to spend almost $300 on a compressor, because it sounds so good. It's just a nice creamy texture. Future Impact is just a versatile thing. I can still play that motif with my bass if I wanted to through the MIDI, and that's all rigged up as well, where if I want to use sounds on the motif and I want to play them, I can play them through the Future Impact as well as vintage synths. You know what I'm saying? So that's a killer feature. Oh, what else we forgot about? Only thing we didn't really touch was the MXR bass filter, which I happen to really like a lot. Now, I will say, don't go getting this joint thinking you about to sound like a keyboard. Like, it ain't gonna sound like a key bass for real. Like, it ain't gonna sound like a real synth bass like the Future Impact does. But it does have its own charm if you use it how I believe you should use any pedal, which as its own thing. Don't try to worry about making it sound like an ARP 2600 or a Moog. It ain't. Let me see. What's one thing I need this to demonstrate? Let me hook this expression pedal up real quick. I had unplugged it for some strange reason. All right. Cool. Bam. All right. So on the floor here, I actually have 4 expression pedals. One for the Hog 2, another one for the Mercury X, then one for the MXR pedal, and then another one for the Enzo X when I need it. So now I know you say you have the MIDI captain, you can do it through there, but I haven't figured out how to assign each expression pedal to a channel. I can assign it to a CC message, right? But I can't assign it to an actual MIDI channel, so it be controlling stuff I don't want it to control on other pedals when I do it that way. So if somebody knows how to do that with the MIDI captain, let me know in the comments. Feel free to ask questions, chat, all that good stuff. Let me check on something. Let me make sure we still up and running here. Oh, why it's not trying to let me get to my stuff? But okay. See if I can get to it this way. Nope. No problem. See, I ain't even getting all my messages. Cool. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even see all these messages. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all saying hi, all that good stuff. And I appreciate the gift as well. Thank you. Fancy Psycho. So, yeah. You know, the real cool thing about this whole setup overall, like I said, well, I was going to play through some MXR presets that I made. Like, I don't like any of the presets that come with the MXR bass synth. So if you get one and using the presets, I don't know what you're doing. Like, you need to tailor those. Those don't, I don't know. Some people having a better time than me. So what I've done is, instead, I will say you're going to want to run so I kind of do my bass synths. I start with the oscillator first, then I start adding things onto that, just because it gives you a better feel of where you're going. But one thing that's not explained, was explained, but is not, people not really understanding about the MXR bass synth, you got to have like 2 different presets set up per preset with the expression pedal. So this is my heel down. So heel down is the main sound. Now I have a heel up, more of a kind of like a whole different sound. So I got every preset, I have multiple presets, and not only that, but I can mix them. If I start from the toe down and then I come down, so that's really like 4 presets, almost like 4 usable presets per preset if you set it up like that. Now, let's go to some of my other stuff. So, right? I can also have it for solo and stuff. And let's get some help from the Enzo X with the modulations. Or say we wanted a flanger on that. But let's turn off the flanger real quick. So heel down, I can mix them. Or I can use them while I'm playing. I can be playing the bass line. So you got all types of really nice options with the MXR bass synth when you start taking into account using that expression pedal while you're doing it, and not just, forgetting that expression pedal will definitely make a huge difference. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. You know what I'm saying? Like, bringing you some real material here. This ain't no, definitely is secrets of the game. So that's these just different presets I got set up. And I will say, I do slightly like playing the tracking on the MXR just a little bit more than the Future Impact. But I enjoy the sound quality and the actual feel of the sounds more from the Future Impact V4 VIP. So, if you are not the tightest player, the Future Impact may come off like the tracking isn't good. And if you don't have the right settings, just to get a quick comparison, let me switch this over. You got to go into the global settings by holding the on-off button, press program, and that enters the global mode. Change this to, it has to be the note on. If you want to change the category, you got to be on the instrument. Turn it all the way in, the switch on the note off. It shows you which parameter you're changing. You can use this menu knob here to scroll on stuff through the different things you can change. When you're ready to get to what you want to change, you go to note on, and you can now select what you want. Once you do that, press the on button again, and now you're out of there. Now you're in there. So let's go to this number 2. Right, so they actually track about the same, to be honest. Yeah, they both actually track about the same. I retract that. Like, that's not a great bass sound. Like, come on, like, between the two, I can't lie. Like, if you can only afford one, just get you the Future Impact. I'm just not gonna hold you. Get you a Future Impact V4 VIP. This is what I always have thought, even before I got the MXR bass synth. But even having it in the hand, a lot of you guys are chasing the classic ARPs 2600 or the Moog sounds. You're going to get all of that with the Future Impact V4 VIP. So I highly recommend that. And there's no other pedal that's even close when it comes to those vintage bass, mono bass synth sounds. No other pedal is even close. But I'll be lying if I say I don't enjoy playing the MXR bass pedal, bass synth pedal. But like I said, I use it like it's its own thing. I don't try to emulate those sounds. I just create my own sounds with it. That's stupid. So you can get some really nice, I ain't gonna lie, like you can get some really nice bass synth sounds with the MXR bass synth. You just gotta use your imagination and be creative on your own versus with the Future Impact V4 VIP, you literally are getting, like, you can, of course you can always be creative, with old tools. A hammer can still build anything it needs to build today. But, you know, I like the way that the Future Impact V4 VIP also has additional features like the MIDI in and out ports, and it's about the same size as the MXR bass synth. It's just horizontal. If you took the MXR bass synth and turn it on the side, it's going to take up about the same amount of space as the Future Impact, just different shape, kind of, you know. But and only real main difference I've seen, you know, because you can really, if you set it up, I can set up this MIDI controller here to control all the different parameters within the Future Impact. I can literally have these sliders set up for oscillators settings, you know what I'm saying, and then I can have these rotary knobs set up for on here for different filter settings and different things like that. But I don't suggest you do all that. I suggest you get my preset pack. Save yourself hours trying to set all these different bass synth sounds up in the Future Impact V4 VIP. And then on the pedal itself, you can change the filter settings. The filter, if you're changing the filter, it's like changing everything to a sound. So don't think just, I can't access every single thing. You really can't access every single thing with the MXR bass synth either. If you got a square wave, it's just a square wave. You can't change that, or you don't have all the parameters to do that. You're using the square waves they gave you to work with. So, you know, the way they gave it to you versus that, you know, the Future Impact V4 VIP can turn it into a pulse wave and everything else. So like a skinny pulse wave or a wide pulse. You could do so many things with it. It's ridiculous. But, you know, that's that, you know. But the Hog 2 is pretty self-explanatory as well. It like I said, you got the freeze gliss and all that stuff. Beautiful filter on there. The most octaves I've seen on any pedal. You know, even the new Hog 3 doesn't have as many octaves on it. So it's like this, you know, hopefully I get my Hog 3 back from them soon, you know. But the main thing for me is the versatility of this setup. Oh, only thing I didn't go over is the Mel 9. I used it a little bit, but Mel 9 is awesome for pad stuff as well, you know, in conjunction, especially with something like the Hog 2. Oh, wrong pedal. Let's get this going. Beautiful choir sound. Love the string sounds as well. You can add like the Enzo X modulation section. I love the chorus. Come over to the HX1, we can add a classic delay. We also have a color box on the tone model on the ToneX one. Mind you, you buy it through the description, the link in the description, and, you know, greatly helps the channel out. And don't forget, you can hit that super chat, Cash App, all that if this helps you out any, you know what I'm saying? But then we'll come over and let's add Negus Picture 3 on the MXR. You know, I have 3 different Negus picture presets that are going to be available in that pack. Let's go with 2. Or if I wanted to, I can do pitch bending with the Hog 2. So So you can do all types of stuff with a limited amount of pedals. You don't have to have 50 million of them, but you know, you can take a good amount of pedals these days and get some out of this world soundscaping going. Like what I got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pedals here that because of the technology and the way things are, the algorithms and the sound quality of things like the Meris pedals, and the Future Impact, you know, allow you to, and the ToneX 1 pedals allow you to use a lot less pedals. Just the ToneX 1 has taken off about 7, 8 preamps that I normally would want to, you know, I would have to keep switching out or trying to get the right combination because I can't carry them all. But the ToneX 1, I don't have to sacrifice any of that. And anytime I want to, if I want to go create more settings, more tone models, I can go to the ToneNet. I can go and download them from other creators like myself, use my preamp packs on the Patreon for the ToneX. Or I can just literally sit there and just create more. You know what I'm saying? And very high quality. You're talking about 24-bit, 192 kilohertz, which is much higher than a lot of the other amp models in the, you know, multi-effects pedal things, you know what I'm saying, type area. So, and you still got modulation, delay, and reverb, compression, and noise gate in there. And you still got your cabinet models, like your amp models, IRs you can upload. I don't have any of the IRs. I have the global IRs off on there, but you can also have those on. The Mel 9 is just an exceptional sounding pedal. Like there's no other pedal that does the things that does and recreates those Mel 9 pedals perfectly and tracks very well. Even when I'm playing the keyboard through the Mel 9, it sounds very good. So, then you got the Enzo X. It's not just a synth pedal, it's a drive pedal, it's a modulation pedal, it's a delay and reverb pedal. It can control things through the modifiers. You know what I'm saying? Like you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's 5 or 6 different types of modifiers in there, excluding the expression pedal. And you can assign 6 different parameters up with the expression pedal. And say you don't want to do it with the expression pedal. Say you want to expand, when you go to the modifier section, you only see one hold for this. You only see one thing you can assign to the hold. But then you can take some of the expression pedal slots and assign them to hold as well, and then assign additional parameters. So you can really assign up to 7 things to this one hold switch right here. You can assign 6 different things to the expression pedal. You know what I'm saying? And you got 2 LFOs. You got a sample and hold, which is like a random thing. It's going to basically, if it was controlling the opening of the filter, and it was going, instead of going wow, wow, it'll go wow, 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 wow. It just gets random, you know what I'm saying, type thing. Then you got the sequencer. You got a 16-step sequencer in there as well. So all these things are available within the Enzo X. You know what I'm saying? Which is amazing. Not to mention, like I said, you get some high quality overdrives and all that stuff too. And you get octavers in here as well in the Enzo X. The poly and the mono octaver, mono and poly shifting, you know what I'm saying, polyphonic synths in here. The HX1, you know what I'm saying, you pretty much get access to all the Line 6 effects with the exception of the amp models. So, you get all the drives, the delays, the Noble preamp in there. I primarily use it for delay, you know what I'm saying, at this point. And once I get it, I'm probably going to get a Meris LVX. So I don't know how long the HX1 is going to last, but it does have great delays and reverbs in there. It's just the Mercury X has changed the game for reverb for me. And then there's the Mercury X, you know what I'm saying. It's not just a reverb pedal. I use it as a preamp pedal as well. So it's phenomenal, the sound quality of these Meris Series X pedals. The compression and limiting in there are amazing. For the preamp section, you can, or studio channel strip section, you can use that parametric EQ, like one of the go to the drive section or preamp section. You can use that as saturation. And then you also got that, I use the compressor link, and I use that for parallel compression to round out my signal. And then, like I said, all this is running down here to the bottom to my Jam Man Solo HD, which is high quality, super high quality looper that doesn't color the sound when it's bypass, and the Canvas stereo line isolator. You know what I'm saying? And then if I want to control things with the keyboard side of the game, I'll take the M-Audio Axiom 61. And I've had this thing forever, too. And basically, that's how I get a lot of my solo stuff going. And with the beauty of having all this hooked up with MIDI is, I just run a MIDI. I can still come down here on the side here, run USB out, you know what I'm saying, to different pedals. I still can have, if I decide to hook up another medium-sized pedal board, I can run things, just chain additional things through MIDI. I can play multiple pedals or keyboard sounds at once. Just super versatile setup. The Meris pedals definitely make that super possible because for one, they sit different. They sit really well in mixes. You know what I'm saying? And it just kind of caps off my sounds, whether it be my bass sounds or keyboard sounds. And not only that, but it can be the keyboard sound itself. Like all that pad sound underneath. Mind you, get my preset pack for the Enzo X. You hear that brass sound in there. Just a beautiful Negus brassy right there. That's definitely in the preset pack. Check it out. And like I said, if I say I want to use it as a faster patch, peripheral. Let me change this from the shimmer. Give me a nice haul. mean, you can use it for a lot of different stuff, not just the slower pad stuff. A lot of times you hear people using the Enzo X. And even if I wanted to make it faster than that, switch to the studio reverb. Mind you, that's the Enzo X with the horn type sound. One is the EP from the Motif. The other one is the other sound you're hearing, the layer, is not actually a brass sound. It's a sound I created with the Enzo X, and it's actually a synth patch. But with changing a few parameters there, as you can hear, it went from being a pad type sound if I wanted more reverb, I completely change the mix. So, you know, that's nothing but changing. All I did was change the amount of the mix. Of the reverb on just the Enzo X part. Let me just let you hear that. It's the Enzo X. You'll never hear people making sounds like this. And that's like I said, that's purely the Enzo X. Let me see what's going on, folks. The usual suspects starting to show up. What's going on? Yes, I'm playing the Meris over MIDI, but I haven't. This is my hybrid setup, so like even if I wanted to play that same sound with my bass, I can. So even with my bass, I can still have access to all the same pads. Yeah, I know the people sleeping on the Enzo. I was sleeping on. Let's just not say people. Let's take some accountability here. I was sleeping on the Enzo X. After having it, even now, after having it for almost a year, I am still so impressed with this unit and the things I can do with it. And I'm still finding new things, new sounds, you know, new inspiration, new purposes for the different effects in there. Like I said, I have things set up for not just the synth, but also if I wanted to, you know, just have some chorus, nice chorus sound. And that chorus not only works for bass, that works for EP and other things too. And as well as the rest of the synths that are down here, because technically the Hog 2 is a guitar synthesizer. It's technically a harmonic octave generator guitar synthesizer. So beautiful, you know, beautiful flanger. Not just good for chordal stuff either. So I created these particular presets with the modulations to work for everything, not just my bass. They'll work for guitar. They will the actual preset itself. Not just saying the effect, of course, will work for all of them, but sometimes it's hard to find settings that work, let alone a setting that will work. Not hard to find on there, but I'm talking about any pedal. It's hard to find an effects setting that I could use for my bass EP. I can use it for guitar. Use it for any sound. I can run it through that same exact flanger with those settings, and it's going to sound good. That's what was amazing to me about this particular, about the modulation section in the Enzo X. Oh yeah, definitely a 6-string. This is my baby right here. But that flanger is fire. It just sounds good. It just sounds really, really good. And that goes for the chorus, the flanger, and the phaser. Not only that, the filters is crazy in here. Yeah, the filter is the modulations. That's the thing I really love about them. They sound. That's why I think they work. Those I can create a setting that works for all the different instruments for me that I need to run through it. Is because, you know, some chorus or modulations, flangers, phasers, they get weaker in that lower end. That's my beef with most flangers and stuff that's like in the HX1. The reason why I don't like the modulations in the HX1 is because they are very weak. It's the exception of one or two. Like, they're weak in the way of they don't make you feel like that flanger or that phaser is beefing your sound up, which ultimately I like the swooshing sound, but I like the way phasers and stuff Especially on the slap and pop, it just, you can hear it moving. But it's just like giving you nice versions of it. And let's not forget these filters though. These filters are insane. Yes, it definitely is a 6-string bass. And to be honest, the Enzo X has removed all those filters off of my board. Like I have well, in the background here, let me switch to this view real quick. Let me show you guys how many pedals. The Enzo X and the Mercury X have just completely put off my pedal board. Or let's just say Meris. Yeah, the flangers on the flanger and the phaser, on the Enzo X sound really good. Now, I will say, if you're looking for a less expensive option, the Zoom MS-60B CDR Plus has some really good modulations in there, but they're not the sound quality of these. And while you'll get more of a variety in the MS-60B CDR Plus, none of that variety will be as high quality and sound as big and add as much beef and everything else to your sound as the Enzo X. And you still won't have none of the synth sounds. And you still won't, you'll have good, you got some good filters in the MS-60B CDR Plus, but nothing like what's available there. Hold on, let me show you guys something real quick. So a lot of this, like filters, all off the board. MXR pedals, all off the board. OC5 off. MS-60B plus. TC Electronic Spectrum. Eden WTDI. What else it put off? The Ampeg SGT is, the ToneX 1 took off the Ampeg SGT, Gensler, Magellan, the AG preamp, and the Eden pedal right here. The Ravis sitar, the vocoder pedal, and the Key 9 C4 synth. Those will probably stay, but the deep freeze will probably end up going too. So that's, and but yeah, that's over time. You can just have so much stuff you really don't need. I try to avoid it. Appreciate you, Jonathan, for subscribing. But yeah, so that's pretty much my hybrid setup for bass and keys, that you can use. Got all my synths and stuff like that in the Enzo X, as well as my modulations. If I want overdrive filters, I can do all that there, as well as LFO filters. I can random filters, sequence filters. Wah-wah pedal, I can do all that with the Enzo X and the Mercury X. Yeah, yeah. Mercury X you can get down too with that. But the Enzo X, you also get things like the bit crusher and a ring mod. Like, check out this ring mod. This ring mod setting. I was able to come up with based on one of the presets, right? It was this preset in there. I really like how the ring mod, I never had a ring mod I really liked. That's all triggered off of the envelope of my sound. Like I can literally pretty much I have a dynamic ring mod. You know what I'm saying? Like or envelope triggered ring mod, like an envelope filter, but an envelope ring mod because I can assign that ring mod to the envelope. You notice when I'm doing this? Thank you. I appreciate the super chat. Appreciate you. Definitely appreciate the super chat coming in, Porch Bass. You mix this with something like the MXR. Something else a lot of people don't really talk about with the MXR bass synth either. You can actually sustain the note. So say I wanted to hold this E flat. Now I can just hold that joint just by holding down the foot switch. But you got to change the setting in there, the parameter. Go in there and change that parameter. So you can also use the MXR bass synth like a freeze pedal as well, but it's just a mono freeze pedal. Say I wanted to play over this, I could literally play over this if I had it, my foot on it. You know, so like you can literally use that sound right there was literally the Empress compressor. You're not hearing the Empress compressor, but it's on for the, you know, tracking, helps out with tracking. The MXR bass synth into the ToneX one, running a JHS Colorbox V2 tone model. Then into the Enzo X, running that envelope ring mod type thing, envelope triggered ring mod rather, and running that into the Mercury X, which is my end of the wave preamp. So it'll have my compression at 10-to-1 parallel compression, you know, half wet, half dry. Had that running into the op amp on low gain just for the saturation, and then a high pass filter. And that's that whole signal chain there. And I can do that with any of the sounds I created with it. So you can just with a couple pedals, you know what I'm saying? For I know that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pedals. That's 5 pedal sound right there. You know, I definitely appreciate that super chat, man. Thank you, man. That meant a lot. Thank you. Hey, sometimes you think people don't be paying you no mind, but I thank y'all. Also, Cash App works as well. You can find me on Venmo, all that good stuff. But that's why I said with the MXR bass synth, you gotta have that expression pedal so you can really get to them really cool sounds like. So you can just get to some. You can be covering 2 parts like that. You know, you literally playing a synth part up top and you playing the bottom. So yeah, I really like the. Like I said, I didn't get the MXR bass synth to necessarily try to duplicate sounds. I got it to create my own sounds. Duplicating sounds, you want the future impact, you know what I'm saying? And also, same thing, if you want like some future, you know, crazy out there synth type stuff, the Enzo X can actually do some crazy bass synth stuff. I'm gonna get back and create another Enzo X pack where I do some crazier stuff. Like I've learned a lot of different tricks with the Meris pedals lately. So I'm gonna go back and create even more presets that are gonna add to it. So, and like I said, the Mercury X definitely is worth getting, even as a bassist. At the end of your chain, you can use it as an always on pedal, and for the compression and all that preamp type stuff. And then you can also have it there, you know, for amazing delay and reverb with some amazing filters, distortions, modulations in there, and modifiers and stuff. So definitely every pedal on here I definitely highly recommend checking out them all if you have an option to. But you know, if you want to support the channel, grab your ToneX 1 through the link in the description. And if you grab a Meris pedal directly from Meris, let them know who put you on to them. You know what I'm saying? Let them know the Bass Negus sent you. But this is all I'm going to do for today. You know, I definitely appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Make sure you hit that like button and make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And if you would like to support the channel more, you can head over to the Patreon, you know, sign up there. And if you want any of my preset packs, you can also find them on the Patreon. If you want to check out any of my music, I got an album out as well as singles out on the allbasscreations.bandcamp. And I will catch you guys next